soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we will turn your water into wine. We are in season 4, yay, and this is episode number 8, and we're going to talk about how to achieve financial stability. And I know we're in a very, very volatile situation right now. Volatile world. We got tariffs going left and right. We're talking about inflation. Nobody want to talk about recession, the R word, but I want you to know that I want you to be prepared just in case that happens. I mean, I just got gas today, and gas, went up since last week. And we're not going to even talk about the eggs, the bread, the normal staples that we used to depend on. I remember when breakfast was the least expensive meal that you could actually prepare or even go out. Those days of going to brunch, and the most expensive thing on the menu was that mimosa. But now, if you get that omelet, you have to really consider that: do I get one of those 2-egg omelets, or do I do a 1-egg omelet? But I don't want to digress. How do we achieve financial stability? I know it's easy to say live below your means with the economic condition as it is, but that is number one, is that we have to create a spending plan environment, basically that we live below 35% of our paying off our debt. And what we call that is the debt to income ratio. Because even though right now the interest rate for housing is at 6.7 or 6.6, not sure. I think it went down a couple of points last week. But my point is, people are still buying homes. And one of the things that you need to consider is your debt to income ratio, which means that basically you just, number 2, spend less than you earn. You got to keep a watch on your cash flow. Even though I have a lot of my friends who are still with the federal government, and basically, some of them are getting called back to the office, and they're still in the holding pattern. So raises and bonuses are pretty much obsolete right now. Just keeping your job and maintaining your job is probably the best that you can actually do at this particular time, to no fault of your own. Just wait what's going on right now. Number 3, I don't like to use the word emergency fund, but I like for you to rename it, because I'm renaming mine. I'm calling mine to get ahead fund. And basically, you can have your own pet name, which means that, you could call it On My Way, or hey, let's get lit fund, anything but call it, because if you are spiritually connected and you say that basically, hey, this is an emergency fund, exactly what's going to happen. So most of the professionals are saying that you need to have at least 3 to 6 months of emergency fund. Now, realistically speaking, I would love for you to be able to save $33,000 at the high end. At the low end, $16,500 in your emergency fund. I would love to have that. I love for you to actually be able to achieve that. And that is a very worthy goal. But realistically speaking, in this economic climate, let's go with 1 month of your passive income set aside in a high interest savings account, which means it's flexible enough that you can get to it. I have spoken on many occasions. I would suggest that instead of a money market account or a certificate of deposit, which is a CD, because those things are time, I wouldn't say time sensitive, but you cannot, it's not as liquid or flexible that you can actually get your money out. A high interest rate savings account, basically your money is growing interest weekly, actually daily, weekly, and monthly, which is very advantageous of the, way over above than your traditional. And normally when you open up a savings account with any, I would say brick and mortar, the normal companies that I'm not going to name right now, they will lead you to that traditional, which they give you less than 1% on your savings. Most of the digital financial companies can give you a better rate because they don't have the overhead of a brick and mortar. That's one of the advantages of them being able to give you that 4.3, 4.2 or 3.8, interest rate on your high yield savings account. So that's what I recommend. You have to reduce your credit cards, and they are, very high, and most of them start off from 16, 18, 24%. And if you can, and I really recommend this for people who are disciplined to be able to get over it into a 0% 12-month credit card, put those high interest rates on that, make sure you pay on time, whatever the date is, monthly, to reduce that. So within, give you that 12 months span that you can actually reduce that down to considerably. Okay. Stay away from payday loans. I know they're so easy to get, and you think that basically I can get my money earlier, 3 days, but it's a fee for that. Remember, very rarely does anybody give you money for free, and basically that's what banks are in, financial institutions are in the business of selling money. And I mentioned that on one of my TikToks. So check out my TikToks, and you'll find out some of the things that I go into detail with. This is for some of my young people. Be very, very, very cautious of. And most of them are that basically they actually will finance a big vehicle that they sell. Believe it or not, even Ford, one of the major car company, car industry, they make more money financing the vehicle than actually selling the vehicle. So be careful of that. I think you could get better rates at a credit union. So if you are looking for a car, make sure that basically you're prepared for that. And that means that basically if you're just there starting off before you actually enter into your career and you need a transportation, you might need to, I'll call it store money, meaning that you have a specific plan in place to, get that down payment on that vehicle and make sure that you at least have a nice down payment for that. I suggest 10 to 20%. So basically you can get more favorable rates. And at the same time, you're building that your savings with the high interest savings account, which lead me to, in order to achieve favorable financial stability, you have to understand what your credit score is. And your credit score really is from, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Those are the main one. And basically, they are not really credit bureaus. They are actually reporting agency. It's not really but one and I don't know if they're still existing, the Consumer Protection Bureau right now, since this Dodge situation, they're cut back. Seem like everything that actually support you and to get ahead financially has been wiped out. So I don't know if that credit bureau actually exists, but TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian are just reporting bureaus, and basically they report on your financial report, which the scores go from 300 to 850, and from anything from 650 to 850 is very good. Anything below that is marginal to 300 is like getting the F, actually failing. It is possible. So one of the things that you want to do is make sure that when you do hit a line of credit, that you don't go over the usage of that, going over 35% of what that limit is. Let's say if you get a $1,000 line of credit from a credit card, you want to keep it right at the $250 to $300 dollar amount. You don't want to go over that, because basically that affects your credit score, your credit score. So you have to make sure you keep those things in mind and live below that. And I know a lot of people use, and I have used it in the past, a credit card as a lifeline to any emergency. And that's prior to me understanding, creating what I call the get ahead fund, not the E word. So because you're going eventually you're going to run over a nail, so you're going to need a tire. Eventually the hot water heater is going to go out, or one of the appliances, or if you like me, I used to play basketball, and if you play in the park, you're going to step on somebody's foot, and then you're going to have to go, not necessarily emergency, but you might want to need to get an x-ray at one of those quote unquote patient first, and you really don't want to actually activate your health insurance just for something, and I'm not going to say it's minor, but it's something that is not serious, it's not life-threatening. That's the fund that you have to dip in to pay for those things. So in order for you to actually achieve financial stability, you have to create a plan. And I use the acronym SMART. You have to go about it specifically. It has to be measurable, attainable, relevant, and it has to be time sensitive. So let's do it things smartly. So now, me, I have always created what I call a spending plan. And basically a spending plan, 40% of your income should be on your needs, 30% your wants, 20% save, and 10% give. Now, with that in mind is that your needs are basically your food, housing, transportation, basic utilities, and insurance. Your wants is like travel, entertainment, fashion. Save for that get ahead fund, pay down the debt, and invest. And give, and actually talking about as a member of a church, I tithe. But you give to your charitable organization, or you give donations. So that's the first thing. You have to organize your basically spending plan. So once we return from this break, we can continue with the spending plan, but also we're going to talk about our belief system as well as some of the financial basics. So let's take a break right now, and then I'll be back, and then we're going to continue how to achieve financial stability. my soul brothers and soul sisters, and we're in season 4. This is episode number 8, and we're talking about how to achieve financial stability. In the first part, we're talking about living below your means, understanding what your debt to income ratio is, and you want to keep that below 35% of your income. And we talk about spend less than you earn, understanding we have to track our expenses, and if we are continuing to get raises and bonuses, and that just keeping our job right now is a raise and a bonus in itself. And I call it, instead of the E word, I call it the get ahead fund, which means that basically most financial planners tell you between 3 and 6 months, just in case, medical situation that you have to be sidelined, job loss, that you have to take some time off to take care of your parents. Many of us is what we call in that sandwich generation, where we still have kids in either elementary or high school or in college, as well as we are in, middle in our employment. We pretty much halfway in that, we can't even consider retiring. And we have elderly parents who are, could be in 75 and above, that we are making interest that we have to take care also. So matter of fact, I think I'm gonna do a show on that, basically how you strategize in doing that. I recommend at least minimum you keep at least 1 month of your passive income in a high yield savings account. Besides the high yield, the lowest I've seen was 3.8%, even daily, weekly, and monthly. That beats the 0.3% that you get from a traditional, all the way up to 4.2% interest rate on a high yield savings account. And I explained the difference because in a brick and mortar, you're paying for most of the overhead, and most of the high yield savings accounts are digital because they don't have the overhead, and they actually return those investments back to you. That's just my little scrutiny of why there's a difference in what they're doing. And I talked about staying away from high rate interest. Now, most credit cards max up to 24%. There's 18, 16, but if you are in good standings, you can actually get one of those 0% credit card that you can actually put those balances on there, and that will help reduce that. You can consider taking out a personal loan, which would be considerably lower than 24%. Matter of fact, it'd probably be lower than the 16%. You can consider doing that because the longer you have that loan, the interest rate go up. Just some of the things you could consider. And also, I made the comment before we went to break that most of the car dealerships have their own financing, and I've learned that Ford make more from their financing than they do from selling cars. But you make sure you understand what the interest rates are, because you're probably going to get a better interest rate if you are a member of a credit union. So keep that in mind also. And then we talked about your credit score, which is your financial report card. And be sure part of your financial credit report is your usage. And if you get a certain amount, a line of credit, which was one of my first lessons, were basically credit card I maxed out on it, which that was a big no-no. But because I didn't have financial education at that time, I was actually set up to fail. And what I mean by that, I had credit cards in college, which means that I had no type of income coming in and no type of knowledge of what credit utilization was. So now that's the reason why the foundation of this whole podcast came to be about the conversation I wish I had. So with that in mind, we have to create a spending plan. And remember, I gave you the acronym SMART. It has to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. So, and basically, we left off with my spending plan. Now, the needs, wants, and save and give, those things will not change. But the amount 40, 30, 20, 10 will change, which means that basically I've seen the model of 70%, 10% wants, 10% save, 10% give, which means that basically, 100%. But my point is that you may be in a situation where the suggested amount is 35% of your income going towards housing. We know, since there's a housing shortage, that you might have to spend 45 to 50% of your income. So what I was sharing with you are really just guidelines or something that basically you can actually put in place, but it has to be flexible enough that you can take advantage of and it be meaningful to you. I also present what I call my belief system. And basically, this is, excuse me, this is what keeps me grounded, which means basically I have to have faith. I have to, I believe in God. That's my that keeps me grounded. I have a family, got adult children, got kids. There's those things, and I got friends that really support me. And finances, I created a spending plan that's flexible enough to actually that I can do those things, what I just mentioned earlier. And fitness, of course, working on eating better, which means that cutting down on the fast food. I'm getting enough sleep, and I'm working on exercise. And I used to be better at exercising. As you get younger, older, you kind of fall off on that. I remember the days I used to get up early in the morning and actually run 3 miles a day. So, not doing that as much as I used to. But I do have a plan to strengthen my body. And one time I actually was lifting, but due to my joints in my shoulders and my knees, I had to stop doing that. So basically, I'm down to calisthenics, and actually, instead of running like I used to, now I'm just going for a jog. But I have incorporated those things. Therefore, I have a foundation of a belief system. Before all those things happened, I had to get back to a financial basic. Prior to high school, I went to college. I was going to be an art major. I changed it to business because I wanted to, create an income. Ended up joining the Marine Corps. Was a federal investigator for in law enforcement. Therefore, and that's how I earned money. One of the things over the years, I have created a better spending plan of how I manage my income. Then I learned by trial and error, and my joke is I'm on trial for some of my errors. I learned how to leverage some of my income, purchase, house, cars, and now I'm using that leverage to get into real estate. I'm a real estate investor, and actually uh, own properties. And matter of fact, I'm getting ready to launch out into, more properties. And protection is actually using insurance. First, you got to take care of this body. Your health is your wealth. So basically, you got to have insurance, health insurance for yourself, and your family, and as well as for the property that you own. And you got to have for your vehicles, even if you're renting, you have to have renter's insurance. Of course, if you have a mortgage, you have to have that insurance. And the main thing I want to talk about actually is what I'm working on. And the fastest way that I can get there is to insurance. As far as legacy, I do want to leave something for my children as well as my grandsons. So insurance is the fastest way to do that. One of the things I've noticed is that we hopefully we'll be in a position that we would no longer need GoFundMe's when somebody transition or pass or die, whatever your definition of is. So insurance is the cheapest way to do that. And one of the things that I share with my podcast listeners and people that I do estate planning for, or any people that I within arm's length, is tell them that the younger you get the insurance, the cheaper it will be. And one of the things that I have done is I even have a life insurance policy for my grandkids, which is a part of the legacy that I want to leave with them. So, as well as part of your legacy is having a will or trust. Now, one of the things about will and trust, and that's a whole lesson within itself. But in short, if you own a home, that home should be put in a trust, and whoever your children, beneficiary or grandchildren should be actually directly to that trust. Those are the things that you should be put in place. If you have a business, you should be able to start having a succession plan that basically when you retire, that basically they can actually move into those things and have things that are not gift taxable. There's a dollar figure on that. So in order to achieve financial stability, everything that I've talked about, you have to be able to put in place, which means that basically you're going to have your spending plan, your belief system, and your basic plan put together. Now, I know that was a whole lot of information. That's the reason why you could run it back and review it later. So in order to achieve financial stability, you got to live below your means, spend less than you earn, create that go-ahead fund, which is at least 1 month of your passive income, and stay away or reduce your high interest rate, debt. So until we meet again, let's get lit and let's achieve financial stability. Until next time, peace.